One thing I learned in life, you can never bring somebody up if they don't want to go up. Somebody bad could bring a good person down. They can.
100%.
Because the negativity in the world is much more stronger than the positive sometimes. And the negative people can bring you down. So I stay away from negative people.
Hi guys, welcome back to the second part of this video. Another email. Okay, so this person, it's a little bit more deep. Tatiana. She says, I watched your video about mental health. I come from a long history of depression in my family, and after a while, it can take a hold of you. I don't think people understand the full effects of being surrounded by toxic people. Sometimes you have to distance yourself. Society trains us to think that you stick with your family no matter what. But sometimes doing that isn't the best. It sounds cold, but it's necessary to keep your distance. Tatiana. Facts. Look, and you know what's funny is that I think that especially people who have bigger families, especially, you know, you stick to family no matter what, and your family can be completely toxic, and then you're just in there, you know, in there, and it will take a hold of you. After a while, when you're around toxic people, it's inevitable. It's going to wear off on you, and it's going to be, you know, it'll become who you are. I think people like that are like misery loves company.
I was just watching just yesterday the guy from Bronx Tale, the guy who plays Sonny. What's his name? Shay.
Oh yeah, Chaz.
Yeah, he was like a YouTube short.
One thing I learned in life, you can never bring somebody up if they don't want to go up. You can't. No matter how good you think you are, no matter how much you want to tell them, you could help them. If they don't want to go up, there's nothing you can do.
100%.
But the reverse is not true. Somebody bad could bring a good person down. They can.
100%.
Because the negativity in the world is much more stronger than the positive sometimes. And the negative people can bring you down. So I stay away from negative people.
You're right.
I just walk away from them.
What I tell people all the time, especially a lot of these youngsters, you know, I deal with a lot of these young gangbangers.
Yes.
And I tell them, remember this, in life, you are who you hang out with.
Right.
If you are around negative people, they will destroy you.
Yes. That's goals. That's their goal is going to be to destroy you.
Now, for me, I'm just a repellent of negativity. I really don't like being around people who complain all the time. So, you know, like even when I'm at work, I keep my headphones on. I don't want to hear about people's troubles and problems all the time, because I think that even though people, look, I've had problems too, but I think that people need to rewrite a story. In my opinion, I think that your story, you need to start being a little bit more optimistic, and your story becomes who you are. I know a lot of people that they live on victimhood. They lie because it's kind of become a part of their identity.
So it's like, who are you without? Who am I without this part? You know, without the abuse I, went through at a certain age. Yeah, it's like, who am I? You have to reintroduce yourself. It's a lot of work.
I'm not super close with my family either anymore.
Yeah, full transparency, you guys. Yeah, I'm not
super
that
close.
close.
I mean, I'm close with Danielle. I'm close with my mom, but I'm not super close with my family members either. You know what I mean? Because, you know, if you think about it, you know, what she's saying is similar. It's true. When you're a kid, you don't get to choose the people you were raised with. So if you were raised around, you know, people who do charity work and are high scholars and they're always doing stuff, then you may be you were brought into that world. So your likelihood of life is you're going to be successful because that's just all you know. You know what I mean? Most athletes, their kids that are also athletes are just, in general, they move forward.
If you don't know any different,
but if you're brought into a bunch of drunks, and that's just who you see every day,
it's highly likely you'll become
then you're probably going to drink, and if you're around drug users, you're probably going to be that. If you're, you know what I mean? So sometimes unfortunately, sometimes you do have to distance yourself from people you were raised with because they pretty much made your personality. You're never going to see them again. It just means you have to rebuild the way you think.
You know, or people that just have negative talk in general. Like, have you been around someone who's just, I mean, they never have a good day? When you see someone, how are you doing today? And they go, I'm living. Had better days. And this is the same kind of answer they give every day. there's a time where that type of energy, like sometimes people don't even feel that way necessarily. It's just that they're always they're expecting a bad day.
So I was thinking the other day, I was watching a show, and this is something I stopped doing a while back, which is what I thought was funny. Is that this guy was saying that he said the first thing you should do, not really a guru, but he is.
You remember his name?
I don't know. I can find it. His name is. He's got one of those. He's like one of those like Indonesian type guys.
Okay.
He's young. He's, you know, kind of cool. I'll show you. But anyway, he was saying that. Just the other day, he said, you know why most people are unhappy is because the first thing they do is they wake up in the morning. He's like, I kid you not, most people look at their phone before they even eat breakfast.
It's true.
And the thing is, I stopped looking at my phone 6 months ago when I woke up. I don't even look at it until way after I've had breakfast. Then I turn the phone on, and then I'll look at whatever it is. But when you, and then also before you go to bed. So a lot of people, what you download into yourself 5 minutes before you go to bed will train the way that you what kind of dreams you're going to have.
Right.
And so whatever happened to you in the day, you need to be, before you go to bed, you need to be visualizing where it is you want to go. Because the truth is who you are right now is preparing you for who you're going to be tomorrow. So if tomorrow, say you want to be successful, it's better for you to sit around thinking about how to, what it feels like to be successful, what that would feel like being, and then go to bed.
Yeah.
Then for you to just, review the entire horrible day you've just had and then go to sleep, because then you're going to wake up with that same state of mind. Because when you go to sleep, that's when your subconscious is really the most vulnerable. Because
whatever you thought of last is what's going to come seeping into that.
Right, because you can't manipulate your sleep. Once you go to sleep, that's it. You know what I mean? But most people go to sleep in a bad mood, they wake up in a bad mood, then they turn on the phone, they go to work, they don't like their lifestyle, they compare themselves to everybody on social media because they think their lives are a lot worse than everyone, when everyone else, the grass is always greener. You know what I mean? But I don't do that anymore. I mean, I stopped looking at the phone before I go to bed. And before I wake up. And the reason why is because there's just too much negativity in the world. Even if I watch a movie before I go to bed, it's a movie I choose. It's not something that the TV just randomly, picked up, or even I don't even want to hear commercials. I don't want to be sold anything. I don't want to hear anybody's. I don't care if you're my family or a friend. I don't want to hear anybody's negative problems before I go to sleep. I don't want to hear about any of that, because I think that if you just stew in that for a while, then that just becomes who you kind of are. And as you get older, you become more set in your ways. You know what I mean? And it's a lot harder for you to change once you start getting some years on you.
Well, yeah, I was watching Jeannie Mai. Jeannie? I think it's Jeannie. Jeannie Mai. She was talking about this. I saw a little clip of her talking about this the other day. She said, even when it comes down to, like, she's talking about toxic people, but she said, even when it comes down to what I watch on, she's heavy on social media. I'm not. Kara's not heavy on social media, so, but I can relate to what she's saying in a way. But she is very heavy because she has a social media presence. So that's her job. And she's like, even down to the things that I scroll, like, you can control what's the word, that your algorithm. Whatever you watch all the time, you watch a bunch of fights, or, a bunch of just BS on Instagram, for instance. When you scroll through your feed, also all you're going to end up seeing, that stuff gets into you, that kind of toxic behaviors get into you, your mind. And she said, I'm even vigilant of what the people that I follow. She's very controlled with that. So the people that I follow, the people that follow me, I don't look at like negative things all day, because even that, she understands that will seep into you. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So people that are heavily on social media and are always scrolling through and always looking down, it's kind of like, you have to be careful of what you let in. You have to be careful of what you're looking at.
But by the way, though, it's not just people. It's music. It's like you were just saying, like, it's not just like your friends and family. It's also the music you listen to. Yeah. It's the because music is very moodish. It can change your mood. It's the TV shows you choose to watch. You know what I mean? It's it's all of it. And there are people that they literally listen to horrible music all day. They watch horrible reality TV all day, and then they go around their friends who do all the same things and have all the same problems, and nothing ever changes. Like, your life becomes like a loop of a bad day.
I always feel like when people are not happy all the time, it's like it's definitely the people that you're around, who you surround yourself with, the things you watch, the things that you listen to. It can depress you. It can literally depress you.
You date.
Yeah, it's true.
These men that aren't happy,
I mean,
and they're
it's a
walking
thing,
around
yeah.
just smoking weed and always in this sort of keeping it real. Sometimes that keeping it real attitude is a little bit negative, and I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I don't like this. You know what I mean? It's the way that you feel when you're around people, and some people, they just are so used to unhappiness.
It's
just
the
the way
saying,
that, you know what I
they
mean?
expect it. I mean, I just think that there's so many things that you can do, I think, to combat depression. I do think that you have to incorporate better people in your life. You're going to have to start eliminating. See, this is the part people don't want to do. Because this is going to be probably pretty much 90% of it. You have to eliminate all the toxic people in your life. And what that looks like sometimes is almost your entire family. It could be. Or the friend group that you're associated with. Or just the people. You'll have to eliminate all of those people. Or if you're in a situation where you have to be around those people, you have to be able to make it short. You know what I mean? And move on, because that's what really you succumb to it. When you're around all of that bad negative energy, you do kind of get lost in there. There's only so much you can do as a person.
Yeah. Reverend Ike once said that. I was watching this Reverend Ike show, or one of his sermons, and this lady said something about that she can't help but being around negative people all the time. And
What?
He's like, I don't do that. And she was like, well,
Me
what
either.
about like holiday things? Like sometimes unfortunately during the holiday you have to be around all your family. And he said, no, you don't.
No, you
Who
don't.
told you that?
No, you don't.
And she was just like, but they're your family. He was just like,
See, this is what
he's
Tatiana
like,
was saying.
No. He's like, you don't understand. My mental health means more to me
Facts.
than,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say, my family.
Yes.
And see, he's right about that. I think a lot of people think, some people hold their people in their life like they're God
Yes.
instead of actual God. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like Mother Teresa once said, I'll never fight against anything, but I'll be for something. So she said, I'll never be the fight against AIDS or the fight against
anti-war
terror or the fight against that. She said, because it never worked. She said, but I will be for peace.
Yeah.
And
She
I
was
will
never
be for
anti-war,
healing.
she was anti-peace.
Right. She said, I was always for peace, for that. And that's just it. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't want to hear your horrible stories all the time. And again, that's why when I go to work, I listen to headphones, because the people at work have a tendency to talk about their problems all day long.
And I don't want to hear
I'm not
that.
into that. It's not that I don't think they're bad.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not because
I know why
bad.
they're doing it.
It's
Because,
just because
that's all they have.
When I was younger, I had the worst self-esteem as a kid, because I just did not think that, I was really good enough for anything. I didn't think I was pretty enough, smart enough. I thought it was dumb. I thought it was just anything you could think bad about yourself. I thought that, you know what I mean? And so I just could not. And I would have these conversations because I was kind of a loner. I would have these conversations that I can look back and, because I'm a lot more wiser than I was. But I would literally have conversations which everyone talks to themselves. It's just, you can't, it's like eating and sleeping. You can't not have conversations with yourself.
Yeah.
You can't not think.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I would always have these conversations with myself where I basically was just calling myself names.
So anything anybody's saying to you is nothing worse than
Right.
what you've already
But
done.
I would get so offended if someone called me names.
Right,
But I'd
you
said
fuck-
it like 1,000 times to myself.
Yeah.
And what we repeat to ourselves, we bring it to fact.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And this
It
is
becomes
why I
true.
just don't sit around, when I say, like, I do not believe in being, like, vain. But in the morning, I do look at myself, no makeup, no nothing. And I do
Appreciate what you
things
say,
that
yeah.
God has made for me. I mean, this isn't vanity talking. This is just appreciating who you are. And I think a lot of people don't do that. They appreciate other people's beauty
Yeah, that's true.
so much to the point where they just completely devour themselves. And those women that you appreciate do the same thing to themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think at some point you have to value yourself. You have to value not only your looks but your gifts.
You can't fully love if you're not loving yourself.
Right.
You don't really know.
You don't really know what
you
that
don't
is.
really
It
know
may
what
feel
is,
like you
yeah.
are, but you're not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think that when you don't appreciate yourself, that's when things that are what they call deadlies are like envy. And things like that start to pop up when you don't really invest in yourself. You know what I mean? And so I think that when you're alone and there's no one watching, which is when I do it, you know what I mean? I do repeat things in the mirror.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think you should, without makeup. This isn't when I'm made up and everything. This is when
Like
I wake,
affirmations.
This is when I
You
wake
do
up in the morning and I'm
affirmations,
putting when I'm putting on my skincare. I just look at myself in the mirror because you're looking directly at yourself and it's a reflection back, and I'm literally saying certain things to myself, not out loud really, just sort of in my head. And then I'm able to, you know, do those things set me up to, that's what they say, when you wake up, make your bed. These things like set you up for the day.
Yeah.
Because you already accomplished something. You already accomplished that you're enough. Then you've already made your bed. Now you're probably going to work out. You're probably going to eat right. You're probably going to, because now your whole day has started off, you know, with a standard. If you're around friends who put you down or they do self-destructive things and you always have to witness it, like the girl who always gets drunk and you have to take her home all the time. You have to be her, you know what I mean? That after a while begins, you had a friend once that Danielle had a friend she stopped being friends with because every time they were together, it was always about her.
It was like I was a counselor all the time. And I had actually, the weirdest thing in the world is to break up with somebody you're a boyfriend. You know, if you're with somebody, a romantic relationship, it's even more weird to break up with the actual friend. Because it was like, you know, like this is not good. It's not healthy that every time that I'm around you, I'm a counselor. Like I'm saying, as a friend, you should go to a counselor, to a therapist. You know what I mean? Because it starts to, what happens is it starts to, I started to feel the toll on me. And you know, it's funny because you want to be a nice, good person, and you also want to be a good friend. If someone's really struggling with something, you don't want to be like not listening to them. Of course, I'm not that type of person. I want to hear what you have to say, especially if you don't feel heard. But there is a danger in that, because what you do is that you're doing it at the detriment of yourself.
Right.
So you're just gonna allow, what you're doing is allow someone to basically take your own emotions hostage. They're taking it from you, and you're not realizing it's manipulative, because you're not realizing that it's happening. All you're thinking, I'm just listening to a friend talk. I'm just listening to, they're having problems, blah, blah, blah. But when someone has a problem every single day, you listen to them all the time, on the phone, hanging out, coffee, you know, just problem. You know what I mean? And there's nothing I can do because I'm not professional. You know, so it's kind of like you do have to really be careful of who you're around and be conscious of it. You know, I was a long time ago, and I feel like I can find this. But I'm going to put this clip up if I can find it, you guys. I hope I can. But T.D. Jakes did a sermon many years ago about comrades, constituents, and confidants.
There are three basic types of people that you will interact with if you are a child of destiny. Can I share this with you? The first group are confidants. Confidants. You will have very few of them. Confidants are those people in your life who love you unconditionally. If you have 2 or 3 of them in a lifetime, you are a blessed person. Number 2, the other group are your constituents. They are not into you. They are into what you are for. They are for what you are for. They are your constituents. And as long as you are for what they are for, they will walk with you and work with you and labor with you, but never think that they are for you. They are for what you are for. And you have to know that, because if they meet somebody else that will further their agenda, they will leave you and hook up with them, because they were never for you. They were just for what you were for. The third group are your comrades. These people are not for you, nor are they for what you are for. It is just that they are against what you are against. And the comrades will make strange bedfellows. This will cause people to come together who are not for you, and they are not for what you are for, but they are against what you are against. And they will team up with you to help fight a greater enemy. But don't be confused by their associations. They will only be with you until the victory is accomplished. These people are like scaffolding. They come into your life to fulfill a purpose. And when the purpose is complete, the scaffolding is removed. But don't be upset when they are removed, because the building always remains when the scaffolding is removed. What I'm saying to you, my brothers and sisters, expect the constituents and the comrades to leave you and desert you after a while. Don't be upset when they don't react to your dream the way you expected them to, because they were never really with you in the first place.
What he's saying is you have to understand who the people, who you're around. and what part they play in your life, and don't be confused by the other. Because most times, confidants, you know, are the ones. Those are your charisma confidant, right? His basic thing was either some people are fighting, they're for what you are for, against what you're against, and there's people who are for you. I feel like even years later when I hear that, I think it still stands true. It still stands true, and I just think that people have to be very vigilant of who you're around. I'm very conscious of the people that I am around. I keep my circle small for a reason. I do not want to have, when people tell me they have, you know, I have 20 best friends. I guarantee you do not have 20 best friends.
You know, there's a reason why
you do not have 20 best friends.
There's a reason why when like successful people who come from poverty, when they leave and then they go into gated communities where they should be. You know what I mean? The people always go, oh, well, they just forgot where they came from. And the truth is there's a reason why rich people do not hang around poor people. Right. And it's not that they never do. If you're a poor person that's trying to move up, then they want to hang around you. They don't care how poor you are. Because now you're in a state of mind that they're in, or you're trying to go that way. But they don't want to sit around here and pour problems all day long.
Not
because they know, especially if you're someone who went from poverty to wealth, they know you don't get from A to B. You don't get from A to Z with that kind of thinking. Your problem is your thinking. You know what I mean? And so the other day, a guy came up to me that I know, and he's homeless. And he said to me, as we're talking, he's about to cry, really. And he talks to me and he says that, as I said, you know, you got to find some love for yourself. He said, oh, but I do love myself. I said, no, you don't. You're homeless.
You don't.
No, you don't. You're not. First of all, you got to clean yourself up. You are a grown man, so you were homeless as a grown person. I was homeless as a grown woman. So, you know what I mean? And I did not love myself.
Right.
And as soon as I started getting some love for myself, my whole world changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything started to shift for me. You know what I mean? And how that happens is that you change the people you're around, and that sometimes means being alone. And that's okay for me. I'm not one of those people that need to have tons of people around them anyway. But if he looks like more of a social person, so he does require like people around him. But then if you're going to choose that kind of life, being extroverted and social, then you need to choose people who are going somewhere. Don't choose these people who are low lives and where you are, because I can guarantee you will be this next year.
Which is the people that he chooses.
Right. And so he was all, I said, so you don't love yourself. And you know, he looked like he didn't even, because you know, sometimes people say stuff because it's a thing to say. It's like when people say, I believe in God, but you don't trust God.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they believe in God. Yeah. But when the shit really hits the fan, most people believe in themselves. They believe in other people. I need someone to help me. I need someone to do this. I need that. Well, you can always get help. But like I told this guy, he's like, I feel like nobody cares about me. And I said, well, guess what? You're gonna find that out a lot. Yeah. Most people don't.
Specifically and particularly,
and that's
when you're down. When you're down, we both have to learn that.
Don't care about you. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's how you kind of have to. And I wouldn't say you should walk around feeling like people don't care about you, because that's just also not really true. But when you're in this state of mind, you'll find that most people don't.
The company you keep is so important. Even when we were going through our homelessness, the company that we keep was vital into us being able to forget about financially lifting yourself out. I'm not even there yet. I'm talking about mentally lifting yourself out of that state of homelessness mentally. But Tatiana, you know, when you say it sounds cold, but it's necessary, it doesn't sound cold to me at all. It doesn't sound cold to me at all, but those people definitely don't want to see you go. The people who are toxic, they don't want to see you go because you're feeding their energy. And if you, the one thing that pisses off toxic people the most is when you decide to say, you know what, just talk to yourself, because I'm cutting this off, you know, because they want to stay in that funk. They want to stay in that kind of like depressive state. And, you know, and I wish them well. Good luck on trying to figure that out, you know, but there's no way you're going to be able to thrive and strive and, you know, be happy and joyful and have a fulfilled, happy life if you are insistent on keeping people around you simply because they have a bloodline with you.
There's a song by India Arie, and it's called "There's Hope," and it's all about this. It's all about the fact that that it's the state of your mind that really makes you who you are. It really has nothing to do with how you're raised. I mean, with the money you have and whatever. It's just that even there are people who live in gated communities that feel really bad. There are people who live in the hood that are happy.
The one thing that's not going to work is if you're just choosing to be around people that you know are not good for you. And that's when you have to make see, there's tough decisions in life you have to make, and many people don't like to make them because those tough decisions looks like you're turning your back on, you know, your traitor to your family or to your friends or whatever it is. People are so into keeping everyone happy. These people pleasers out here, just you know what I mean, just keeping them happy. And it's like, no, there's times where you really do have to just walk away. And if they happen to share your last name, if they happen to be a part of your bloodline, your friend group or whatever, this is what it is. You know what I mean? You kind of have to move on for that. If you choose not to, then you are choosing unhappiness. Yeah, Tatiana, we 100% agree with you, and we don't think that's cold at all to have to walk away. I think that it's the decision you have to do. I'm sure you're not depressed anymore. I totally agree. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, you guys. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to get notified of our future videos. And don't forget to create a conversation that matters. Bye, guys.